Hey guys, Travis here at Dutter's Dirt Bikes. So it's that time again. Replace the chain and sprocket on my bike. I've been using the primary drive and slash tusk parts from Rocky Mountain. It seemed to burn up a little bit faster, but you know, the price is so good that it's rather cost effective. But today I'm gonna do a how-to video on how to replace these on your KTM Husqvarna or gasgas bike. Because there are some do's and don'ts. Check it out. Don't forget guys, subscribe to my channel if you like more of this content. So for starters, how do you know how your chain is bad? Well, one thing you can check, of course, is how flat your chain is starting to get. That's just a sign of wear, as well as you see how these how these teeth on my sprocket are starting to hook. That happens over time, as well as when you pull this chain back, you can see quite a gap, as well as this just kind of wants to dance all over the place. So this is worn out. Normally when I'll do these, I'll use power tools. I got the daughter sleeping right now, and not everyone has power tools. So what I'll first do is remove the wheel, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna get that Loctited bolt out. So actually what you want to do first, before you take the rear wheel off, because like I said, normally I'll just use an impact and pull that right out. You want to put it in gear, make sure it's clicked in, and then with one foot, apply the rear brake. Then you can have a lot of force to get that loosened out. Okay. Then we got the bolt out, and then we just take that 8mm nut out, and you can just push that out of the way. Then once we get the tire off, we can just slide this guy right out. Try to clean off what old Loctite you can. You don't have to go crazy, you know, just try to get what you can out. Okay, so now that we got the wheel off, next we want to start pulling off these nuts and bolts. So make sure you use the right size Torx, guys. This is a T45 and a 13mm. Okay, so we got the old sprocket off, got all of our nuts and bolts off. So first important step, just make sure that this is still flat, no dirt, crumbs, whatever went on top of that. And then more importantly, use blue Loctite. Even if your nuts have lock nylon on there, which this one obviously does not. Even more important, put a Loctite. Don't have to go crazy, guys, with Loctite. A good drop on each one will do. Just like so. Okay, so we got the new sprocket on. So now we'll start doing is just put all these in to start them. Once we get these all in and started, what you're gonna do is you're gonna tighten them just like a car tire. You'll kind of go back and forth. You don't have to do a whole lot of passes. You know, don't go crazy with it because these are, you know, coned down. So you really can't mess it up too bad. So we're gonna put all the nuts on, and then we're gonna go back and forth and get them all tight. Okay, another very important step. So once we got these all on there, they're all tight. Now to get them extra tight, we got to tighten it on the nut, because since these are tapered bolts, they will hold themselves in here. So we're gonna go right about here and give a good amount of leverage tighter on each one. Being that this is my final pass, it's okay if you go in a circle. Give them a good tight, because these guys do like to loosen up. I've seen them loosen up on other people's bikes, and with a tool this tiny, you're really not gonna strip them. Okay, so now we got the old sprocket out. Clean up the Loctite as best you can. You know, you use a pick, bottle brush, whatever you want. Just do what you can. You don't have to go too crazy with it. So if you see this, a little aluminum spacer, don't wig out. My particular brand of sprocket I'm using, the Super Sprock, it said to use that, so don't sweat it. The biggest thing is the side that has the spacer. That's the side that goes to the side of the engine. So we're gonna put that on there. There is no certain spline or order. There, put Put that guy on there. Now the torque spec for this bolt is right here. Screw engine sprocket. That's gonna be 45 foot-pounds. There's the actual Loctite number, but I have not been able to find it. I've heard that they don't sell it in the United States. So you just get high strength red Loctite for this bolt. So this bolt, put more of a generous amount on there. Okay, about like so. Don't gotta go crazy with it, but do put a generous amount. I've seen people go freaking nuts with red Loctite. I'm an automotive mechanic for a living, so believe me, I've seen it. So now we're gonna run this all the way in. I'm gonna have to keep these spacers in. But yeah, we're gonna tighten that up and then I'll show you the final torque. Okay, so what I did is I put the old chain on just to torque this, the nut, or the bolt, sorry. If you want to wait till you're all done with, setting the chain and all that, but I went ahead and just put the chain back on. So same method, we're gonna put it in gear, foot on the brake, torque that down. Okay. All right, so now we got the pretty new gold chain out, and luckily, about the same length. Excellent, so I don't have to cut, grind, whatever, the new chain to length. So now is the easy part. Put on your new chain, put in your master link, and then set your chain tension to the tighter side, because your first ride, it will definitely have like a break-in period. If you have a Husqvarna, pull this guy out and it will give you a millimeter spec from here. But if you want it quick and easy, tight 3 fingers and she's tight enough. Well, actually, looks like maybe my old chain was the wrong size, because that's about where I want to be. I got some extra, so the way I do it, guys, you might look online of other methods. I take a grinder, I cut that rivet, I cut that rivet, and then this guy just pops out. Just like so, with a grinder. And now you can either punch that out by hand, or I'm gonna ugga-dugga it with the air hammer, lightly. Voila, she's out. So now we're gonna do, take your master link, guys, take a little pack of grease, if you have an O-ring chain. Well, I think even the non-O-ring. And this is actually technically X-ring. Lather up the O-rings, lather up this guy, slip it in, pop it in. So now lastly, guys, the last key important thing is your master link. Do not put it this way, put it this way. Because of the rotation of the chain, I actually have made this mistake on my personal bike years and years and years ago. I put this forward and something hit, something caught just wrong, and it did pop out. But face it this way, won't pop out. And that's it, guys. Don't forget, subscribe.